stop that and let's start the recording again. Wasn't able to get the information as last time, so we'll see how that changes. We'll see how this goes. But yeah, that's the main thing about it. We've been gone for a couple of days. We were sick. We had a um still ain't over it completely. I'm feeling a bit better now, but I had a fucking respiratory infection, so that caused a whole bunch of shit. So I had to take a couple of days off, try to get the health back up in there. But we are back now, and there's a lot to talk about, I guess. So shit, any topic is on the board right now. There's a bunch of shit going on. Y'all can still, y'all can still notice I'm still kind of stuffy. So I'm not at 100% yet, but you gotta do your streaming stuff. You gotta continue. This isn't gonna not gonna stop, I would say. Um, but you gotta check it out, see what's going on, see what the difference is, see how people are reacting, how people are confused, how people ain't realizing all the different stuff that's going on. There's a bunch of stuff that's been published lately that most people don't pay attention to. I've tried to pay less attention to most of the stuff. I do realize that TikTok has a new feature now that it's TikTok now has the feature that it has local now, so they added a local thing. So I guess if you want to find people that are local to you, you can find them on TikTok now. If that's the case, or if that's what I'm understanding and viewing right now, is that you will see that on there. I guess if you want to have a more local aspect of talking and chatting with people, you can do that now, I guess, because if you show up in a local feed, people can find you that's local, I guess, which still don't make no fucking sense. But hey, if you want to be local with people, you can be local. Um, Crazy. Uh, we, it's interesting that that didn't happen with the previous owners that you got a local app, but then you got to remember that these people don't have the same servers. So now we're under American servers, and I guess they've already had this information and they already know where you're at. So it's not like it's nothing new. It's not like you haven't done a location thing or haven't submitted a picture or taken a picture and you haven't realized it. So that's there. But it's whatever. But we'll chit chat today. We'll see how long we chit chat for. Um I don't know. So much to talk about, so much going on. I don't even know where to get started at. Don't know how to get started on these conversations anymore because it's just like so much shit is going on lately that I guess it's hard to say that where's the starting point. Like where's the starting point to these conversations? I did want to make that video about generational wealth or generational curses. I didn't get to finish editing it. For some reason, my audio and my video was off, but it was just talking about generational curses and how it's not a generational curse. But most people don't understand that it's not a generational curse that anybody has. Nobody ever has a generational curse. That's just something that is placed into your thought process so that you can think it's a generational curse when it really isn't. That doesn't really exist. It's more, like I said, it's generational boundaries and you needing to be able to expand those boundaries instead of calling it a generational curse, which I think is one of the bigger things. But besides that, you know, That's how it usually is when it comes to stuff. And I know I'm not doing my usual chit chat and my usual speech, so I don't get as much attention as I used to on this app, which I'm fine with. New servers, new people, they want to limit what you say. They want to make sure that what's approached by is minimized and what's approached by is not to the certain extent what they want you to agree upon. Um, Congress has been a fucking mess. The country has been a mess. Immigration has been a mess. MAGA's still a mess. Donald Trump is still a mess. Um, Different parts of the country continue to be a mess. Different parts of the country, you continue to see the different changes and the bills being proposed and the laws being proposed and the things that are being proposed across the country, whether no matter what part of the country you are, there's something that's always being pushed that you're not paying attention to. Most people are distracted by the Epstein files. That's the biggest distraction. People think that it's just as simple as them unredacting the files when it really isn't. It's a lot more to the Epstein files than that. It's just that most people ain't asking the correct questions. Most people are leaving the questions. Most people are leaving the questions that need to be asked unasked. They're leaving them without making mention or even or even trying to go through the process of figuring out why it is that certain things are happening. A lot of it has been that we have just decided that with the Epstein files, everybody's just going to stay quiet about it. Or people, I know there's a lot of people that is just like, at this point right now, a lot of people are just not, like, it's very draining, I would say, is the best way of saying this. It's very draining to try to go through those files, see those pictures, read those emails, um, just pay attention to all those things in there. Just noticing and seeing all those things in the Epstein files is very daunting. But people still ain't asking the right questions. Or maybe people are asking the right questions. It's just that those questions aren't the ones that are getting the visibility. Um yes, Jeanette, I'm feeling a bit better. I'm not gonna say I'm 100%, but I am feeling better. Still feel like I got that cough, so I'm still on medication, but we're trying to, hopefully this respiratory thing is gone by the start of next week. Um, but yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people ain't asking the right questions when it comes to this whole Epstein list thing. It's a lot of questions that aren't asked. You got people that are protecting it and trying to act like it's not that bad. You have Donald Trump wanting to move past it. You want a lot of politicians wanting to move past it. Um, you got politicians more worried about fucking voting than they do protecting children. And that alone tells you how much Republicans are about this whole thing right now, and what they actually care for. They are more concerned with, what's up, D? They're more concerned with making sure that their seats are kept and they don't lose their positioning than actually taking care of kids. And that's plain and simple, plain as day, visible. But Republicans and MAGA will refuse to acknowledge that because they're more concerned with voter ID. But one thing that I always seen that I've always mentioned when it comes to this voter ID and the supposed voter fraud that Republican states always want to mention and always want to talk about, they can never provide you the actual documentation showing where it is. What's up, Hilaire? They can never provide you where all this fraud is at. They can't show you. Like, I would understand if Republicans and MAGA would be able to say, oh, this fraud is happening it's only happening in Democratic states. But your state had an election too. Your state had people voting. But then in your state, you can't prove that there was election fraud going on. So if you can't prove that there's election fraud going on, wouldn't that mean that you are wasting time and resources on trying to trying to advocate for a bill that's going to make people have more bills, I guess, is the way to more shit to for them to find out, but then you can't prove that there's voter fraud. I was like, look, the state of Texas hasn't been able to show you where there's been voter fraud. The state of South Carolina, Montana, Indiana, Iowa, all these Republican states, all these MAGA states have not been able to provide ounce, an ounce of showing where this voter fraud comes from. Now, one of them has said it because remember, under Joe Biden, millions and millions and millions of people, millions and millions. Remember how what's the number now? It's up to like what 35 or 25 million illegals that supposedly came in through Joe Biden's administration, and they brought them all in to vote. But then out of all those votes, you can't tell me which ones were illegal. The biggest problem that Republicans have right now is with the mail-in votes. They don't want people to mail in vote because the thing is you have to count mail-in votes. You can rig a fucking computer. You can't rig a fucking write-in because you have to legally count those one by one. You can't fake the funk with mail-in voting because people send in their votes and you have to count them. With a computer, you can rig a computer election. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. It was like, look at for the naive people to not understand the fact that these people, like, how many times hasn't any of our information gotten hacked at one point or another because of some fucking something got hacked? It was just like, oh, or you receive a letter, it was just like, oh, your information might have been breached. So y'all been got my information. It's not like it's new. Somebody been got my phone number. Somebody still got my address. People act like you can't find somebody's information. Like banks and all this shit don't sell your information. When you go buy a car, they go and sell your information. They obtain all your information, but when they try to run your credit, unless you have a pre-approved thing, you're gonna get your information already done. Your information's already being sold. Cause that's where you get all those spam calls from. It's how you get the spam calls. Spam calls are from one fucking place that you went to, that you put your information, whether it was online, it was just like, hey, sign up for our email. Sign up for this. And then all of a sudden that corporation sends all that data and that information to whoever they're connected with. And then all of a sudden you start receiving offers from people you didn't fucking know. I was just like, bro, I didn't ask for a loan. I was just like, I bought a car from y'all. Why am I getting now proposed? You've been pre-approved for all like, bro, I don't need this shit. I was just like, I bought the car already. Why am I being pre-approved for all this stuff? But people will be naive about that shit. Well, the biggest thing was Elon had access to everybody's information, but they didn't give a shit. That was legally a fucking hack. that's literally what that was. What happened with Doge was legally the US hacking the entire fucking country for its information. Because you got social security information, so you found out everybody's social security information. You found out what they were getting paid, how long they were getting paid for, where they lived, how to contact them. I'm already restricted on TikTok. They already gave me a restriction because I'm making too much fucking sense. What am I being restricted for now? It was just like I'm causing misinformation. You know what? Fuck TikTok. It was just like if you're here, like I've said already, please follow me on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch. Because these people, it's I'm gonna keep talking regardless. So if I just happen to disappear because these people are already restricting my live because of the fact that I'm talking honest shit, I was just like, it's whatever with this thing. It was just like, whoever reported me, fuck you and your mama. That's it. She should have swallowed you. Take that for a fucking a thing. Yeah, it's a Republican TikTok because they don't want people to know the fucking information. Because that's the thing, your information already got sold. I was just, Jeanette, I already got restricted. I just got the notification of misinformation. I was just like, I'm informing people of the fact that Your information was already taken. Because the thing is that came out in the news stating that the people that took the information from Social Security and from all of that was already doing it, and they put it onto servers that they shouldn't have put it on, that were not fucking protected properly. Meaning that they already took your information. And what the problem is, and what people fail to realize also with Social Security, is the fact that, hey, everybody's on Social Security. Everybody. Everybody is on Social Security. You don't have to be collecting a Social Security check to understand that there's Social Security. What do you think comes out of your taxes when you get paid? Remember where it says Social Security, that amount? That part right there is you being in the system for Social Security. Because when you get paid, the money is being taken out into Social Security. So everybody's information is in there. Everybody that works, everybody that receives a paycheck, a legal paycheck, not no under the books, an actual paycheck, is literally in Social Security. And I know TikTok is gonna be mad at that, and I know some probably dumb Republican or some MAGA bot that came in and just like, oh my God, he's telling the truth. We gotta silence him. Fuck you, okay? That's all I gotta say. But that's basically the truth of it. All that information, everyone's information was in there. It wasn't something new. It wasn't something that nobody knew about. Everyone's information was in there. If you have been working or you have worked, you are in the Social Security system because you've been paying into it. That's how you got to tell them to sick a duck. I learned that from Outcast. Sick a duck. All right, you sick a duck. But that's the thing. It's just like they keep on trying to do it. Cause look, yeah, sick a duck. That's what I tell people now. Sick a duck. Go sick a duck. Oh, just like a nigga gonna be like, what? And the dumb ones ain't gonna get it for like 15 minutes, but it's okay. But that's the whole purpose of it. It's just like that was information that was taken from people. Your information was taken already. How else do you keep track of benefits and how much you pay into it? Social Security. But that's the thing. That was the whole purpose of Elon going in there. Because the thing is he was able to obtain everyone's information. Because if you are here, you got here legally, and then your shit might have expired, you've still been paying into Social Security. You've been paying into Social Security that whole time. You're not even going to receive any of it at the back end. So literally anybody that works in this country here legally, supposedly illegally, if they're receiving a paycheck, they're getting Social Security deducted out of it, meaning that Social Security is going into those people. Your Social Security is going into it. And that's the thing. That's the part that they don't want to talk about. They don't pay attention to. They don't listen to, and it's just like people don't care because most of the time they don't pay attention to that because they don't associate those things. Most of the time, the information that these people thought was released when it came to the Social Security was people that were collecting and receiving Social Security checks. That wasn't it. They thought everybody that thought the MAGA and Republicans themselves is just like, oh, they just took the information of people collecting Social Security checks. No, they went into the whole Social Security agency and they got everybody's info. They know where everyone lives. Because the thing is, this is the easiest way to update information. Why? Because you get a paycheck. If you receive a paycheck, your paycheck is going to be addressed to where you live. It's not rocket science. To some it is. To you, If you receive a paycheck, you are registered. Your paycheck is registered to your address, meaning that you are going to get paid at that address. Meaning that if it's up to date and the last time you received a check was last week, that paycheck is going to say where you live. So when they want to find people and they want to identify people, that's what it was for. It was basically them going into the system to find everyone's information because of the fact that they knew it's against the fucking law to go into anybody's fucking corporation, anybody's fucking place of work to actually try to get that information. They already know that. But the way around it was they just went into the Social Security and got everybody's thing. Because why would you need to download the information? So they got everyone's info, but MAGA and Republicans are here acting all naive and acting stupid like they don't know. Like, oh no, it was just like the same thing that they still believe that fucking Pocahontas and John Smith were collecting paychecks for over 300 years when Social Security wasn't even around that long. Like, it's the stupidity that people have with this fucking country. That's why this country is the way it is. And then when you have fucking the social media platforms basically ensuring that you don't get this information or that the people that have the information are being restricted from producing it and allowing for people to acknowledge it, it's a bigger thing. Because that's why they want to make sure they do this voter restriction thing. Because the thing is they want to scare people into thinking it. They want it to be that people don't have the ability to vote and women not to vote. Because the thing is your information don't match. The information don't match. If you got married, chances are a a very large percentage of women that get married take the man's last name. So if your names ain't matching, then it's gonna be a tough time for you to do it. Now you gotta get another ID. So why is it that none of Congress is using an ID? Why ain't they showing their passport or why ain't they showing anything when they're casting a vote? Because that's a vote. When's the last time you seen them pulling out an ID? When's the last time you seen them pulling out fucking a passport? And what you gonna say? Oh, because they're already in Congress? Well, I'm already a fucking American citizen. I've already fucking registered. So if I already did that, why the fuck do I have to show an ID again? Ain't nobody going around the country talk about, yo, I'm gonna impersonate Cruz to go vote for him in his state, in his city, in his voting fucking place. Because you get a specific place where you gotta go to vote. So unless you have all these people that are acting and faking that there's somebody else, that should make no sense to me. Because what's the point of registering to vote if I have to show my ID again? I was just like, I could show my ID at the voting poll. I got no problem with that. But when I have to have a special ID, look, they made the real ID. And now, if you on a fucking flight, you don't even have to have the real ID. You could just pay a fee for it. So it's just like, why the fuck are we doing all this shit if you ain't even following through? I'm like, that's crazy to me. It's just ridiculous. So it's just funny to me to do all that and then just have it in that same manner and that same thought process that people want to look at it in that with that ignorance to me. It's just like it's crazy. What's up, Fuzzy? Just like that's the tiring part about it. It was just like all this shit is being done and it's just like people don't want to understand it. They ain't viewing it the way it's supposed to be. They're just covering their eyes for it. I don't know what a cat at, Fuzzy. The cat is somewhere. They upstairs. Well, no, they outside. They went outside. Even though it's raining, that black cat don't mind going outside, so he's outside. I don't know if he'll ever be back. That motherfucker don't like coming inside. But that's the other thing. And then the other thing about the thing I wanted to touch on, which I know I'm probably gonna get restricted again for. My restriction is now over So I know they're not gonna send it to many people because that's what they do. Or whatever dumbass came in, like I said, he could sick a duck. Um, but the biggest thing I would say that has been on my mind that I wanted to talk about the past couple of days, but since I've been sick, I haven't, is the whole Epstein list, right? The whole Epstein list is a fucking distraction. That's what the whole list is. The whole list is a distraction. The Epstein list is a distraction. If you try posting on it, look, I've made a couple of posts where I even put it in the hashtag. I even put it in the hashtag Epstein list. Somehow AI turned it into Oppenheimer's Einstein fucking scene. The AI, even though I put the hashtags for Epstein and Epstein list, the AI on this app chose the fucking Oppenheimer movie where it's Einstein, not Epstein. So it's like they know what they're doing by doing that because they're trying to change it. Yeah, exactly. Like imagine the fact that you put hashtag Epstein list, but somehow my shit turns into the Oppenheimer Einstein scene. I was just like, how the fuck did your AI fucking figure that one? How the fuck you go from looking at that and looking into another one, right? So that post was basically me saying like, hey, if you realize it's a distraction, the Epstein list right now is a distraction. They are showing you these pictures. They are showing you these emails. MAGA and the Republicans are squirming so bad, and they are trying to find which way to make you think or look about something else besides the Epstein list. They want to figure out a way to change it. They want to try to do this whole SAVE Act and this voter restriction and voter stuff while everybody's paying attention to the Epstein list. But the thing is people aren't like us as a whole. Most of these people, like there's a lot of people out there that have been doing a great job investigating the Epstein list. They've been doing a great job identifying stuff, but they're asking the wrong fucking questions. They're asking the wrong questions. The questions that most of these people are looking at is just like, how does this connect to this? How does this connect to that? And it was just like, you don't see, appreciate the sharing of the live. It was like, you don't see the actual questions that need to be asked. It was just like, you see Epstein is connected to this. You see that people are starting to resign. If you are resigning, that means you are a part of it. If you are resigning, that means you had something to do with it. You shouldn't be allowing these people to just resign because if they are resigning, that's basically them needing to be investigated. You should be investigated. If you are resigning from your position, that means that you should be investigated. Because why would you be resigning from your position if you ain't have nothing to do with it? If you weren't all over the Epstein list, you wouldn't have that problem. So you are allowing these people to resign from their position so that they can step out the limelight, and then people gonna forget that they exist. Is that is a reader? The thing is you can't jump ship when you already know you built it. Your name is on the fucking ship. You put your name, you etched your name on the side of that ship. That ship ain't going nowhere. I don't give a fuck how far you jump. It don't matter how far you jumped. I know you on there. I know you were on the ship. I know you participated on the ship. This shit got so bad that you had to try to avoid and leave the situation. But what does that do? So you mean to tell me all these people get to fucking jump ship, they get to jump what they're doing or leave what they're doing, and then all of a sudden it's just like what happens to them? That's the question. That's one of the questions I have. What happens to them? What happens to those people that have resigned? What has happened to those people that has resigned? You got people all over the world resigning. You got people all over the world that are seeing and viewing this stuff. What happens to those people that are resigning? Why are we not questioning them? Why are we not interrogating them? Why are we not having them be subpoenaed to court or to a committee to answer questions? That's one of the questions I have that people should be asking. Those are the people you should be asking the questions of what's going on, because you decided to resign. So if you decided to resign, that means you probably know something that you don't want to keep in the limelight because it's going to hurt your job, which you already resigned from. Because if you ain't have nothing to hide and you ain't do nothing wrong, why the fuck would you resign? You ain't going to resign from a job that you know you're doing. I'm not going to leave my job knowing that, oh, everybody's saying, oh, Cruz is doing this, Cruz is doing that. Me knowing damn well I ain't doing any of that. I'm not going to leave my job because of that. That's crazy. But those are the questions people ain't asking. Ain't nobody asking like, hey, how come these people ain't being questioned? How come Pam Bondi isn't asking these people questions? How come Pam Bondi isn't subpoenaing these people or making them a person of interest? Notice how nobody's asking those questions, right? That's only part of the questions that I came up with. Here's another one. It was just like, what's up, Lizette? That was like one of the other questions I had. The one that was really bothering me is that nobody's asking is, how are they getting the kids? How are they getting the kids? The one question that seems to be passing everybody's thought process is because everybody's mad at who's on the list, what's coming out on the list, what they doing, how they getting the kids. How are they getting the kids? I don't give a fuck who's on the list. Because they've on the list, we already know who they are. How are they getting the kids? Is the question that needs to be asked. Not who's doing what to them, because we already know who those are. We can investigate, and you got enough people investigating to it. How are they getting the kids? Because you mean to tell me there's a list of all these kids? There's been so many victims. How are they getting the kids? Lizette, the kids that are being trafficked, the kids that are being raped, how are they getting those kids? That's what we need the answer to. Yeah. How are they getting the kids? Entity, appreciate the subscription. I was just like, how are they getting to the kids? It's not even the Amber Alerts. It's not even that. Lizette, go ahead. I'm willing to hear wild takes. Cause the thing is right now there's no such thing as not being a wild take, not being anything like that. Cause you gotta pay attention to it. Cause the thing is how are they getting the fucking kids? Cause nobody's paying attention to that part. Everybody wants to disregard that part. Everybody's so focused on what they're viewing. I'm feeling better, Emma. Appreciate you asking. It was like they come from other countries and don't forget Trump and his pageants. Zarita, true. That could be true. That doesn't explain how they're getting them though. You see what I'm saying? The people that we know are on the list are the people that are getting them after everything. Oh yeah, MJ was never trying to hurt these kids. MJ was always trying to protect them. Cuz MJ was probably one of those kids that made it, but he could sing and he could dance. But where are they getting these kids from? Because that's the thing. It was just like, we know look, basically, this is one thing that with me going to school and trying to do like social work and trying to understand people and trying to help people and trying to create policies, I'm always the person that thinks of the root cause. What is the root cause that is causing the problem? What is it that is causing this problem so that we can learn what the problem is to then develop a solution for it? You can't develop a solution for something if you don't know what the root cause is. Something is causing this. Someone is having access to these kids. Someone is finding where these kids are. Someone has a system that these kids are either being taken, kidnapped, something. There has to be a way that these people are able to get these kids, the thousands and thousands, and the ones we haven't even fucking heard of and don't even know about, the ones that ain't even in the fucking files, are being moved to the island. It's from point A to B. Everybody's just concerned with point B. Everybody's just talking about point B. I need to know where point A starts. Because point A is where it is. The same way, look, guys, the same way I am about fucking religion and talking about Jesus Christ, how Jesus Christ went from age 14 to 33 and nobody knows what the fuck happened. That's the same way I feel about this whole situation with the Epstein list. Because you telling me, oh, you knew he was a carpenter's son, right? You knew he was a carpenter's son. And then all of a sudden he disappeared. Came back walking on water. Now you got these kids that you know they were born. They end up disappearing for some time period, and then they end up on an island. So there's a missing part here that we're not paying attention. They are trying to make it so that you get distracted on the people that's on the list so you know who to go after, who you mad at. But there's people before that. Because you're mad at the people at the end. Where's the people in between that? Because these kids ain't traveling on their own. These kids ain't flying. Ain't no fucking way these kids flew themselves to the fucking island. If they got trafficked or kidnapped, they didn't do it on their own. They didn't fly the plane out there on their own, did they? Lizette, I haven't been able to stop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but this is the thought. These are the things that have been running through my head that have been driving me crazy. I don't give a fuck about the list anymore, cause I know who we gotta go after. I want to know what's happening and how they're doing it. I need to know how they're doing it, because that's the only way we would stop this from happening. Because right now, the people that are in these positions right now, what you think they're going to stop this? No. We just going to arrest a couple of people, castrate the other ones, and then what? You really think that shit is just going to stop? These people are still continuing to do this shit as we speak. What you thought the shit just stopped after Epstein? No, fuck no. What's up, BV? It was just like it didn't stop there. This shit is still ongoing. Kids are still disappearing. Kids are still being kidnapped. Where are they going? Cause somebody's still doing it. The same way people were doing it for Epstein. Everything on the Epstein list has been, oh, Ring. The funny thing is, Lizette, they already canceled the Ring thing because people were having concerns about privacy concerns. So Ring already nixed that fucking thing with the commercial they made. They nixed it because they knew that's privacy invasion. You mean to tell me my camera's just gonna be recording everybody on there just because you want to turn it on a certain? Nah, you could have been doing that for kids. So before you even started looking for kids, you started looking for dogs? Don't get me wrong, I love my fucking animals. But you're not gonna use the resources more concerning to fucking find a fucking animal than it is for fucking kids. Fuck out of here. Zarita, those are the questions I want answers to. I want the answers to how these kids are being trafficked, from where, what entities are doing this, how are they doing it, are they going to, because remember, everybody's talking about the school stuff, right? How nobody's sending their kids to school to take school pictures because it was part of the Epstein list. It was just like, are they using that? Because one thing they're doing with that is they taking the pictures of all the kids. But that doesn't mean there's a way of them doing it. Or that I know of. I haven't been able to. Y'all know how I am with my fucking thought process. I've just been racking my brain and trying to figure out different fucking ways and different thought processes. Like, how the fuck are they doing this shit? Appreciate the appreciate that. That was just like that's what I am trying to figure out. That's what my brain has been racking, and I haven't been getting. Look, y'all can see I got bags in my eyes. That's why I got the fucking hat on, so y'all can't see how much I haven't been able to sleep. Um, yes, Lizette, but they do that, but that doesn't equate to how they're getting the kids. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're getting the information the same way they just did. Appreciate that, Evie. The same way they just did that, they got all our social security information, right? They got all of our social security information. That don't mean they just snatching us off the street. They are doing that with people, but then the thing is look, you have the government using ICE to snatch people off the street. If Epstein was doing this, who were they using to snatch these kids? See what I'm saying? Who's the entity that is doing it? Because that's who we need to figure out. Because it's you bring up a good point with the pictures. People put their address, they put their information, and they do that. But at the same time, it's just like, you got to look at it like this: they're taking the kids' pictures, right? They have your information, but that's just like a accessory. Life Touch would just be an accessory. Because the thing is Life Touch isn't the one snatching the kids. Who is? You see what I'm saying? Who's snatching the kids? Because the thing is you can get everyone's information, but you need somebody to do it. There has to be a process. Because the thing is that, see, Lizette, that's why I hate the way my mind thinks. Because my mind, I didn't ask for myself to think this way. I didn't even want to think about this shit like that. But then when I started seeing all the videos of everybody releasing all the stuff that they started putting together, and it was just like, oh, the pizza stuff, when they talk about pizza, they talk about eating kids, they talk about all this stuff, and all these kids disappearing and all that. And it was just like, how are they getting the kids? Because the thing is if they were doing that on Epstein Island, right? That means those kids had to be flown there, or they got boated there. The kids didn't magically, you don't end up in the middle of the fucking ocean just magically ending up on the ocean. That means somebody got you to that island. Somebody brought you there. Somebody took you there. But somebody had to snatch you before that. And then the thing is a lot of these kids, what's up, Yen? A lot of these kids, Emma, I'm not saying that's far-fetched. Look, at this point, Emma, I think there's nothing that's off of the fucking board right now. Put it like that. There's nothing off the board right now. There's nothing off the board right now. There literally is nothing off the board right now. Because the thing is you can see how evil these people are. So there's nothing off the board. But that's the thing that is just like, how are you still getting these kids? Because you have kids that go missing, right? And you have parents that report them go missing. From all of those, are kids being kidnapped? Are they being taken from a certain place? Are they being like, It's just like you have to. It's like you have to start digging into like kidnappings of kids. Where is it happening? What is the entity? What is the likely scenario? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like that's what's been wrapping around my brain, is just like trying to figure out how the hell are y'all getting to these kids? Because one thing is getting their information, but then that means somebody is grabbing them, somebody is snatching them. Yes, it is a system that is being allowed, or a system that is happening, and that's what we need to be paying attention to. Not the people on the list, because we already know who they are. We don't know who the people are that got the kids to them, though. We don't know the process of what they're doing. Um, TikTok, depending on what they release on the files, they're not gonna release the full files. They're never gonna release the full files. The, Lizette, the thing is all these allegations, some of them are real, some of them are just people putting things together. and 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 that's what I'm saying, because the thing is where are these kids coming from? Because the thing is you don't have a list of the kids. Look, we've gotten lists of people on the island, we've gotten emails. We don't have a listing of the kids. We don't know nothing about the kids. We know the survivors that survived, but those kids that didn't survive, we don't have any of their information. We don't know nothing about those kids. Nothing. Nothing about those kids. I saw something about that pilot that was arrested in Brazil because of supposedly him flying. But then that's the thing. Okay, so now you have a pilot, right? So you can look at it like that, Kendall. You got the pilot, right? That's the thing. That's the thing, y'all. I understand. I'm sorry. I'm feeling better, Sagi. I'm sorry. I know this is mentally draining, but the thing is this is draining me to the max. But I need to get these thoughts out of my head. And I'm sorry if I'm doing this to y'all. I apologize. I apologize because I know the toll it's taking on my head. I don't know how the toll is doing on everything else. But I've been sitting these past couple of days where I haven't been having a live, and I've been paying attention to stuff. And my mind, like I said, y'all know how my mind operates when the things. I need to get these things out of my head so that I don't think I'm fucking crazy. That's the thing. I have to get these thoughts out of my head so that somebody else can be like, you know what, Cruz, maybe you right, or nah, that's crazy. Nah, that's wild. I was just like, because the thing is like those are the thoughts that are going through my head, right? Because the thing is like the Kendall just said, they might have arrested a fucking pilot in Brazil. But then that means that the kids still had to get to the pilot. See what I'm saying? The kids still had to make it to the pilot. The pilot didn't get the kids. The pilot moved the kids. You see what I'm saying? That's the I was just like that's the part that is just like you see what I'm saying, Kendall? That's why I made that video before I could barely talk, fucking was barely breathing. It was just like that's the part that was bothering me when I was sick, and I was just like I can't even talk much. I was just like I was barely breathing right, yo. I thought, damn, they got me. So I was like, damn, these motherfuckers came after me. It was like, fuck it. They go shit. It was just like I was like I had borderline pneumonia that I got. It was just like they were just like you caught it before it became pneumonia. I was like, nice. I was like, I lucked out then. But it was just like that whole time I made that video, it was just like people are not asking the right questions. Because people haven't been asking the right questions. It's like, yeah, I've seen these people. The files are a distraction from the files, and that's why I said it. That's why I said that. Yes, we are not zoomed out enough. We are looking at what's being given to us, and that is what people are going after. Because, bro, the investigative minds that have been on TikTok, some of y'all motherfuckers should be in the FBI. Look, if I become president at one point in time, best believe I'm hiring y'all to do investigative work. I ain't asking the government. Cause the amount of shit some people have been able to put together on fucking TikTok is like, bro, you wasted your intelligence on what? You should have been a fucking detective. Like, fuck this shit. I don't know what you do in life right now. You should have been a detective. For some people, you should have been a fucking detective. You need a job when I become fucking president. You got it. You'll be part of the DOJ. I don't give a fuck where in the DOJ you want to work. You got it. Because these people have been putting shit together, but then now so just like, say, give me that hat. No, keeping this shit. They were just like, but then that was it. It was just like, I had that thought process. It was just like, these content creators have been on it. And they have been. But y'all know how I am. I can't think. I don't think on that level. I always think deeper than it has to be. But then it's just like we ain't asking the right questions. People been able to take, oh, I took this email from fucking 2016 and tied it with the ones in 20 fucking 20 and 28. Like motherfuckers connecting all that shit, but not asking the right questions. Because the thing is we have a layout of who was on the island, but we don't know of any of the kids on the island. We don't have any information about who was there, how the kids got there, where the kids came from, how they were obtained, how they were trafficked. We don't have any of that information. That is the questions we need to be asking, because that's how we really find the sons of bitches that ain't in the Epstein list. The ones that aren't showing up in the files. It was like you can redact somebody's name, but the thing is that middle person or that person doing this shit is gonna snitch that much fucking faster. Cause they ain't gonna have all the multi-millions and billions in lawyers to cover the shit up. You gotta find the small fry. Keep finding enough small fries, you gonna get to the big fish. You gonna get to the big fish. But that's the thing. It was like Evie. The thing is with those parents, I was just like, I need Lizette. I don't even smoke. I don't even smoke. Imagine me on gummies thinking about this. I'd probably crack the shit myself. Matter of fact, I'm in Kansas, so it's illegal here. But I need some. I need some because that imagine if I'm thinking the way like this. Imagine me just being able to concentrate on this. Yeah, I know, Yen. I know that victims were doing this. Move your ass to watch it like yesterday. They were just like, I know of that. I know how that shit. I'm about to hit Missouri up, Emma. Keep playing with me. Fuck all that shit. I'm about to make a trip to Kansas City. But that's the thing. It was just like that's what's been bothering me. But that's the thing, Yen. It was just like even if they like that's the thing. if they were recruiting, right, you still had to have somebody snatch them. See what I'm saying? You still had somebody to get them. So, Kristen, I lived in San Diego for 3 years too. I loved it over there. Oh no, I know that some of the breadcrumbs and some of the stuff, some of these FBI agents ain't trying to like the ones whoever released that redacted batch in the first group that they basically allowed for you to just copy and paste it onto something else to see it. That was on purpose. That was whoever was releasing that information trying to give you information. Like if somebody's smart enough, they'll copy and paste it and see if it works. Then the second time around, they got rid of that. So they're trying to find ways, but how was Valentine's Day? We don't celebrate Valentine's Day here. I love my wife every day. I don't need to have a special day for her. Except for our anniversary. That's a different one. That's a day. Valentine's Day is every day. I love my wife every day. That shit don't change. The fuck? I don't need to I don't know. No. I don't need to do anything extra for Valentine's Day. I don't need society to tell me, oh, today's the day you should love your wife more. Nah, bitch, I love her every day. So my university was in the files as a professor from there was named to be a part of the files. That's the thing though. That's where you see what I'm saying? It was like universities. Are hospitals involved in this? Is CPS involved in this? Is foster care involved in this? You see what I'm saying? That's where my mind starts fucking churning. Cause the thing is CPS is snatching people away from kids that are either underprivileged or being depraved or being abused, which in their right mind that should happen. But then what happens to the kids? Cause the thing is you have to have a getting troubled children. Yeah, you have that. But the thing is you have to find a way to identify them. You have to have a way of identify them. You have to way of having a way to snatch them. You have to have a way of understanding all that. That's what it is. It's just like there is a way that they are doing it. Cause like I said, nobody flies themselves to the island. Nobody kidnaps themselves. Nobody runs away to themselves and just happens to fall into these people's laps. Oh, just like you can manipulate people, Yen. That's fine. But Howard, you still gotta move them. You still gotta traffic them. You still gotta find them in those positions. Opportunity Youth is a program, right? Opportunity Youth is a program. How are they going through there though? Because that means Opportunity Youth is a part of it. Who works with Opportunity Youth? You see what I'm saying? I'm not trying to just get one little crumb. I don't want the little crumb. I want everything because I want everything exposed. I want everything exposed. I don't want this whole look at just this thing and no, because the thing is there's multitude of entities doing this, but that's not being released in the Epstein files. Because the thing is getting their information like their pictures and how they were picking them, that's life touch. I can understand that. If you go to certain camps, I could understand that too. But somebody has to snatch them. Cause everything that y'all mentioning right now is facilitators. Everything y'all mentioning right now is facilitators. Y'all talking about facilitators. What up, Vegas? Oh, just like that's a it's and that's what I'm saying. I know it's bigger than that, and that's what I want to know, Yen. Because the thing is knowing who the facilitators are means nothing. Donald Trump could have been a facilitator with his beauty pageants. But does that mean that those parents were involved knowing that? They wanted to do that? It was just like you seen what Erica Kirk got kicked out of Romania for. She was facilitating with people in Romania. The logistics is the part, Legend, that we don't have the information for. Because somebody was transporting them. Who was transporting them? What information do we have of who was transporting them? Who was moving these kids? Who was moving these kids? You haven't seen any of the information of who was moving the kids. So that's what I'm saying. You have foster centers that were doing this. So are they going to the foster centers to grab people? And then if that's the case, how do you get somebody out of the foster center? Yeah, but see, that's the thing. That's the thing. That you're thinking too small for me. If people are being moved through the system, that means there's paperwork. That means there's paperwork. Yeah, Yin, that's fine. That means there's paperwork. Because if you're a social worker that got fucking Sasha Riley to be moved and got put somewhere else, it can all be legit, but there has to be paperwork. That's why I'm saying the Epstein list is distracting people from that. The Epstein list is giving you what they want you to look at and not the rest of it. Because the thing is those documents, like y'all said, everything y'all saying, I'm not saying, I'm saying everything y'all saying is right. But you're not digging deep enough. Because the thing is if you have that information, that means that there's information there. Yes, that's why they're discrediting social work, and they're making sure that a lot of the professions that are being removed are the ones that have to report. That it don't matter if you hiring them or not. The thing is if they're in the system or not, that means there's paperwork for them, Kendall. That means all these people are fucking recorded. All of them are recorded. That's what I'm saying. People ain't digging deep enough. Because the thing is if you have that connection, that means that if you ended up with one of these kids, you got that kid from somewhere. Thank you, Lizette. That's all I'm trying to say. Money does a lot, but you can't keep explaining where you had 50 kids in your fucking camp, and then by the end of it, you only had 45. What happened to those kids? You had to have some paperwork because it's not that they just disappeared. Because then, if that's the case, that means that that place is complicit, and that way you can target that place. That means you can look into one of those places and then see how far it goes. It was just like they have all that shit. Oh, we talking about interlock? I don't know what that one is, Salgi. I haven't heard of that one. But that's the thing. Paperwork outside of jurisdiction disappears, but people just don't disappear. You can't tell me that every kid that went to Epstein Island just disappeared somehow. Somebody gave birth to him. Somebody gave birth to these kids. That's fine. But the thing is there has to be some documentation. It may be old, it may be in writing, it may be archived, but there is. If you are orphan, you still have a birth record, don't you? You were still born. Unless you were born, I would understand some that it was just like they were born and they didn't get born into the system, or they didn't get born. That's fine. But you're not gonna tell me all of those kids are missing, legend. All of those kids being born were not orphans, and they were just. It's just not. That's not gonna happen. You're not gonna tell me all these millions of kids were just born orphans. So what you're saying is, if somebody's using surrogates, somebody had to implant somebody with semen into them in a facility, because that's not something you do on the fucking street. You see what I'm saying? It's just like you can say I understand what y'all saying, but the thing is y'all trying to label it into a small. No, it's not that simple. These people have a system. A lot of schools did that. You know how many schools I've seen and I grew up in that it was knucklehead kids? I grew up in New York fucking City. There was millions of fucking kids. I grew up in New York City. And was just like a lot of my friends didn't get snatched up, and these are some badass fucking kids. So it's just like, where were all these kids? Because now all of them got snatched. You didn't see just people disappearing, and then especially in a place, these big ass communities and these big ass cities is probably where they prey a lot on people, but there has to be a system for them to do that. It's a fucking system, and that's what the thing is people ain't looking into these questions. They're looking at into what the Epstein files is. That's the thing. Yeah, all got good points. I understand them. But the thing is there's a way to tie all this shit together. You're not gonna tell me that y'all know all this information and y'all haven't thought to fucking start connecting the dots. Y'all got all this information, but y'all skip the fact of, damn, let me start connecting this shit. And I was like, that's the part that bothers me. That's the part that has my fucking people. No, it's not that people ran out of dots. People just stop. Like I said, this is a overwhelming fucking topic. It is overwhelming, and like I said, I was just like, I apologize to those that this is fucking. Because the thing is it is fucking rough. Like, it is rough for me. I haven't been getting much sleep because I got fucking kids, and it's trying to figure out which fucking way I gotta protect my kids. Because it's being done in multiple levels. It is not just a fucking. What's up, Jen? It was like, it's not just the level of them looking at it from the perspective of the Epstein list. Appreciate the heart, me, Jen. I was just like, there's different and multiple levels to this. It isn't just a fucking one stop shop. These people have multiple different things that they are doing. It was like there's multiple things, and the thing is people are being distracted with the Epstein list and the information there because everybody's using their thought process and their research to fucking figure out what they can figure out within the list, but they're not looking outside of the list. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, Southwest. It was just like I remember hearing about that in Arizona about kids being trafficked through CPS. Meaning, if they're using CPS in one state, that means that it's most likely being looked at and should be looked at in other states. But that's the thing, Jen. That's what I'm saying. That's why people ain't using the thought process to look into that. Appreciate you, Rihanna. It was just like that's what it is. It was just like you don't have to allow CPS into your home. That is one thing that most people don't understand. CPS has no authority to go into your home when they want to ask questions. That's why they go to the school to try to get to your kid. They don't ask you at home because they don't have to be allowed into the home. Because that's a Vegas, and trust me, I understand that. It was just like we are the only country that doesn't seem to be doing shit about it. Cause you got fucking British, the British fucking got rid of their fucking, the dude is no longer royalty, which is fucking unheard of. Cause you know how bad them people could fucking be. These motherfuckers colonized the whole fucking continent, and they never fucking got rid of anybody's fucking royalty. And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. People is just like you looking at these positions is just like you have to look at everything else. Cuz the thing is the people in the list are the people on the list. We know who they are. Unredacted or not, people are figuring it out. But those kids had to get there somewhere. Somehow. Epstein wasn't the one going around snatching up all these kids. He was the ending of it. He wasn't the one going around snatching up all these kids. Somebody was providing it for him. Yeah, I know, Yin, it's global because you have people all over the world. Look, if you have fucking British royalty, you have that sultan that was doing that. It was like you have all these people. You have all these people. Yes, legend. The thing is that nobody paid attention and nobody decided to connect all the dots. Because the thing is for all the time that's been around, the internet wasn't around. That's how these people got. Back in the 80s, you didn't have FaceTime. The internet is what's allowing us to put this shit together because now we got shit like Google Maps. Before you wanted to look at a map, you had to go fucking put an atlas out. Oh shit. Damn. So this is where fucking Texas is. Damn, that bitch is far. Type shit. You weren't just fucking pulling it up on a computer like Google Maps. It was like, how long does it get to go from there to there? Remember when you actually had to read a map to actually get anywhere? It wasn't when you had to map quest this shit. And that was before MapQuest. You actually had to have a map. Motherfuckers were actual navigators. Y'all remember map? Exactly. I'm just shit. Y'all know I'm showing my age. But all that shit being there is just like you see all of that there. Back in those days, the technology wasn't there to catch people. Back in those days, you could only look, put it like this. The information that we currently have on Epstein is after the internet was introduced. After the internet was introduced. This email trail is only then. This shit goes back exactly. This shit goes back before that. That's the thing. I was just like, remember dial-up fucking internet? You couldn't even keep internet if somebody picked up the phone line. Imagine trying to transfer shit then. So a lot of that was just like, that was a lot of just like phone calls, shit written down, stuff like that. So those days it would be even tougher to figure this out. If it weren't for the fact that you have a trail of all these emails, you wouldn't know what fucking Epstein or who Epstein was talking to. Because unless you were tapping his phones, you wouldn't know. And clearly, you know, they weren't tapping his phones. Southwest, the internet been around for a while. The technology we have has been around for a while. The thing is that they wait and see when it is opportunistic, and they can take advantage of it to have a control on society with it. Because remember, when we got the phone, I was just like, you mean to tell me the president was talking to the moon that we landed on? Like FaceTime in the 60s? That's wild. But then when you first gave me a cell phone, you had to tell me that I only had a certain amount of minutes or that I could only talk after 7 o'clock for free. They had it. It was just like, damn, we can't just give these people the ability to talk to everybody, because then what's the problem? The problem that they have with TikTok right now. Information is flowing faster than they can fucking stop. Information is flowing now that they can't stop. As soon as something happens, you see it on the fucking news. It's just like, oh shit, this just happened, the fucking thing. And then the thing is the news hasn't even fucking gotten out. And you got fucking either you had Triv or you have fucking Aaron Partners talk about breaking news, and you're like, damn. And then it's just like, I just heard this on the night news. It's fucking 10 o'clock. This motherfucker told me this at 9 in the morning. They can't control that. As the end, the thing is the rabbit hole is the rabbit hole doesn't end. The rabbit holes don't end when it comes to all this shit. But my rabbit hole is the kids. I don't give a fuck about anything else. It's the kids. I don't give a fuck about all these rabbit holes. I don't give a fuck if we landed on the moon or not. Shit does nothing to me. Nothing for me. It changes nothing in my fucking life if we landed on the moon or not. Fucking aliens ain't here paying bills. These motherfuckers haven't made shit better for me. I can't teleport nowhere. I still gotta pay for a fucking flight. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit did nothing for me. But people doing shit to kids, that is my concern, because I got fucking kids. Because the thing is I want to know the different ways of them doing this shit so that I can protect my kids. And then y'all can protect y'all kids. Because the thing is they've been doing this for some time. Freedom Cities has already come out. That's why they were trying to take over Greenland. Freedom Cities is them trying to do that by billionaires. That's why they were trying to get Greenland so that way they can make Greenland a freedom city where the billionaires would be in control of it and do what they wanted. But that's the thing. That's why I was just like, all right, so Now I know with Life Touch, my kids ain't taking a picture. I got a great camera. I could take portraits of my fucking kid and be like, look, you what you want to wear. You can smile. We get the green screen. You can put whatever background you want. You want to be in the stars this year? You can be in the fucking stars. And then we can just print those out and give it to the people that we want to send them to. That's how easy that shit is taken care of. The thing is just like it's people in this world allowing this shit. That's the thing. Nah, Southwest, I ain't have that shit. I did not have that shit. They didn't do it. In New York City. It was yo, sit your ass down. Sit your ass down, right? Cross your hand like this and smile. That's it. Y'all know the fucking put your hand over your hand. Like you don't put your hand over correctly. Don't just cover your hand. Just put it like on. That's exactly what they did to everybody. That was the fucking picture in New York City, and it was just like hundreds of kids going through a fucking line. So there was no extra shit. So, but it depends. It was just like all this shit there. The thing is just like all this shit can be traced. It's just that we have to get those corrupt people that we have in place now that are in these positions out. Because this administration is already corrupt. This administration is already corrupt. There's no hiding it anymore. And people can fucking try to ask I was like, look, the Attorney General of the United States made a statement, and I quote, if we arrest everybody, the system would fucking crash. I'm paraphrasing that. Something like that. That was the Attorney General. That was the Attorney General of the United States that said that. If you don't understand that that is corrupt, I don't know what the fuck you need to hear. It was like the thing is that it was just like, but then the problem I have is that they're too lenient on that. That's the problem I have. They want the system to crash. They want all these people to fucking be. They want all these people to be found. And it's like they want to remove the layer that's on the top so that they can be the ones to replace the layers. See what I'm saying? Yeah, do y'all get what I'm saying? Like, these are the people that they have the layers that have been running the shit for most of it. They want to get rid of this top layer and they want to move up. The thing is by doing that, they're going to create changes. And then those changes are going to be meant to be like, oh, this is going to make the world a lot safer by doing this. And I was just like, it's not. It's just them fucking doing it. Because the thing is you got to put it like this. If the system crashes, right? System crashes. You think these motherfuckers are just going to give up power? You think they just gonna be like, you know what, the shit crashed. You know what? Let them have it type shit. Fuck no. It was like you have all these entities there, you have all these CEOs, but at the same time, you don't see none of these things. They want like that's why Southwest. That's why I said it was just like I feel like something catastrophic is about to happen or some shit. We about to have another flood or some shit. Cause it's just like, man, y'all really just want to destroy shit to start over, and then just be like, oh, we saved you now. We're the good ones now. It's just like, no, y'all just the same fucking dirt, ugly ass pieces of shit, and just renamed yourselves. That's all it is. Yeah, I know. I was like, yeah, it was for surveillance. They did that, but that's the thing. It's just like it's to watch and see what people are saying and what they're doing. But the thing is yen with LLCs. That's the whole point of having them. Because the thing is it takes away the liability from the person. That's what it is. That's the thing with it. I own a LLC. The shit I do for veterans is under a LLC. But that's the thing. They have a trust fund and they have a LLC, then a LLC to this. And it's the same way if you look at it, every single fucking corporation does that. Because look, you have whatever food company, right? Take a big food company. Then what? They just made the next part under them a LLC. It's just a different fucking name, a different company, but now it's a LLC of the main thing. Like Campbell Soup. I think Campbell Soup owns like 5 different fucking soups or more. Campbell Soup. Then it's just like Earl's Campbell Soup LLC, which is under Campbell Soup. But then they're two different entities. So if you have a problem with Earl's Campbell Soup, you can't sue Campbell Soup because it's two different entities. And that's why they do that. But then the thing is it's the same way how Kristi Noem's fucking husband made a fucking LLC, and the LLC just got a contract for the fucking the ads that they've been making. Her husband just happened to own that fucking LLC that did it. That's made these Department of Homeland Security fucking ads. So that's going into investigating it also, but then it's also some of these nonprofits. I've always had look, my kid does shit with the Boys and Girls Club, but I've always been skeptical of the Boys and Girls Club. Always been skeptical about that shit. Cause hey, you have all of the youth there. You get kids from all places, all ages there. I'm skeptical about everything. You're right. But the thing is I've been skeptical about shit for years. Now it's just I'm more skeptical of everything else because of the information. Just off of the information, my mind is in interacting with when it comes to the stuff I've seen about the Epstein list, the videos I've seen, the emails I've seen, the correspondence I've seen, the CEOs that have been coming out and resigning. When you start putting all that shit together, it's just like, yeah, most people trust me. Most people don't know about a lot of the stuff when it comes to corporations and stuff like that. That's how they operate. That's how most of these people don't pay taxes and they don't pay stuff. Because the thing is that's why when I have these conversations with y'all, it's always trying to enlighten y'all on the financial aspect. Because that's how they do it. That's how they do it. That's why I always tell people about trust. That's why I tell people about dividends. That's why I tell about people fucking savings plans and all this shit. It's just like it's a way of doing it. Yes. One look, one of the things that a content creator came up with here that made that really illustrated this stuff. If you look at Donald Trump's office from back in the day till like about 2016 till he became president, he's never had a computer. Man's never had a computer. So there's no digital footprint. So that's why that picture of him blowing Bubba when he's on his knees, that's why it's more realistic because his shit is in fucking black and white and holdable. Didn't his first wife just happen? She fell down the stairs, right? The stairs, the stairs, right? That's where she fell down the stairs. Wasn't it? Wasn't it the stairs? She fell down. Yeah. Those stairs. Oh yeah, and but you know why he used and buried her in his golf course, right? He used it, yes, exactly like Southwest is saying. It was for taxes. Because if you have anything that is classified as a cemetery, if you yourself decide to place or bury a loved one in your backyard or on your property then is considered a is registered basically as a cemetery, and then you do not have to pay property tax on it. So literally, he has an entire golf course that he does not pay property tax on because he decided to bury his late wife on the property. On certain states, they did that, Southwest, but some places you can still do that, and that's the thing. And that's the thing. It's just like we do need the thing to crash. The thing is we don't need the shit to crash, and that's what people fail to realize. I don't agree that we need everything to burn. We don't need everything to burn. We do not need the system to burn. We need the corrupt ones to burn. That's what it is. We don't need the system to burn. We need those that are corrupting the system to burn. Because the system will work if you get it done correctly. If you have people that are not corrupt, if you have people that aren't using their power to traffic kids or to influence change or to make it so that they can control more of the world, then the system works fine. You pay your taxes, it actually goes to paying and fixing up your neighborhood and your thing. Taxes works good. The system is still there. That's the thing. People, that's the thing. That's what they want you to do. They want people to get so upset that they break the system down so that they can rebuild it in a different way that gives them more power without you realizing. They want the system to be fully destroyed because then they can rebuild it. Because, hey, look, how many people are going to be like, oh my God, well, if the whole thing burns, the safest way to keep the world right now is to make sure that we install cameras everywhere so that everything is under surveillance. How many dumb fucking people ain't going to be like, yo, that's a good idea. That's actually pretty smart. I'll go do that. Yeah, 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 let's do that. Let's do that. We don't need cops because we got cameras everywhere. And people come in, oh my God, yes, because the cops are so fucking. It was just like, come on, y'all, that's the whole plan. But it saves the. You know that they stopped that. The Ring actually ended that negotiation and that contract with them because of the backlash that they received because of the invasion of privacy. So Ring is no longer doing that. No longer doing that. But that's the whole thing. That's the whole thought process. Because remember, Remember this. This is the way you gotta. I tell people to look at it. Right. 9/11. I'm from New York City. I was there. I was in my fucking 10th grade Spanish class when the fucking shit hit. I was in Washington Heights when the second plane hit. I was in Washington Heights watching from the Riverside View on 155th between 155th and 161st when I saw the cloud of smoke when they collapsed. But remember after that what happened? Yeah, remember the Patriot Act? Y'all remember the Patriot Act? Y'all remember that for the nation's safety, we have to be able to listen to all your phones. Y'all remember that, right? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember. Y'all may not remember it because y'all were young enough, but y'all, it happened. Y'all remember the Patriot Act? That was because, we needed so much safety that it's okay for you to listen in on phone calls now. So I can listen on your phone to whatever you're saying because it's a national security incident. Y'all remember that though, right? Look up the Patriot Act. Look up the Patriot Act that after we were attacked, and it's gonna be the SAVE Act is different though, because the SAVE Act is more of a voter restriction thing. The Patriot Act was basically them saying that, hey, we need to be able to listen in on the country's fucking phone thing because of the fact that we were under attack. We were under attack. So since we were under attack, we need to be able to listen in on everything. And what did the whole country say? Shit, fuck it. Yeah, you can listen to shit for safety. Shit, fuck it. It was just like, yeah, yes, you do that. You pass that law. You can listen into whatever the fuck I got to say and do that. And that was only supposed to be a temporary thing. You notice how Congress never got rid of it? Cause yeah, we were against Muslims. Cause Muslims are the biggest thing. Even though the people that we funded were the ones that fucking flew the planes into us. We funded those terrorists. The US gave money to Saudi. And then those people trained those people to come fly planes into our fucking country. I was like, I don't look. Most people don't know what actually happened in New York City on September 11th. Most people didn't witness it. Most people didn't actually see the news and watch people jump out of a skyscraper. Y'all didn't see that on the news. Y'all saw the PG version. Yeah, y'all saw a lot of the PG version. Y'all saw the bits and pieces that they did before they cleaned it up. We saw the whole live thing. You saw the bits and pieces. You saw maybe I think like 5 people jumping out. I saw a good like 25 people jumping out those buildings. There was even one that was just like, I think y'all seen the one that was a couple that jumped out. I seen like 20, 25 people jumping out that fucking thing. I seen the people covered in fucking ash, building rubble, and all that. I seen the city after that. Yeah, I didn't get to see the city covered in gray. covered in asbestos. There's a lot of stuff that y'all didn't see as not. That's why I wear these hats proudly. You didn't have to try to talk to your family members that worked in there, and they were lucky enough to get out, but some of the people they knew didn't. That took months, Emma. I was just like, you had people working on that for months, continuously, day in, day out. People were not resting, people were not sleeping. You had whoever could go went. Us high school kids, we weren't allowed there. We weren't allowed to help. We just had a couple of days off, and then oh, it was months. The thing is, it was just like it got called off after a couple of weeks where they couldn't find anyone and the dogs couldn't find anything. The dogs couldn't pick up a scent of anything. But it kept on going. And then remains were found after the fact. Yeah, that was a lot of it. But after that, that was one of the questioning moments I always had. Because the thing is most people never realize that three buildings fell that day. Three buildings fell that day. Most people just know of Tower 1 and Tower 2. World Trade Center 1, World Trade Center 2 were the two towers. But nobody talks about World Trade Center 7, the other building that just happened to magically collapse, even though nothing hit it. I was just like, that plane in Pennsylvania probably got shot down. That missile that went into the Pentagon, that was a missile. That was no plane. You had a whole building in New York City that just happened to fall, that no debris fell on, the building didn't collapse on it, and it just collapsed on itself. And millions of dollars and information just happened to go and disappear after that. But remember, we were mad at the Muslims, and like I said, that brings me back to the whole Patriot Act. It's the same thing that's going to happen. I think it's the same thing that's going to happen with this whole Epstein list. It's going to be that the midterms are going to come in, right? If the Republicans cannot manage to swindle this, if the Republicans are able to swindle this, it wasn't even just a paper investigation. There was a lot of money that was in there. There was a lot of connections to a lot of money that was being investigated in that stuff. I was just like a lot of paper investigations, yes, but a lot of it was money associated with trafficking and stuff like that that was there. Then a bunch of other stuff was taken out with World Trade Center 7 going down. And like I said, being from New York, living in New York, and knowing what it is, because most people, the like I said, this is something that's always been ingrained in my mind when my mom took me to the Trade Center and I got to stand in between both buildings. That is something that one of the memories that I rarely do remember. That is something that is just like I still remember till this day. My mom took me down there and I got to stand in between both buildings and just look up. I was just like, I was just like, those are one of the few thoughts that I do remember from my childhood. It wasn't always about seven. It wasn't always about 7. Because remember, in 1993, they tried to do the same thing, and people forget about that also. In 1993, they actually tried to blow up the buildings. But the thing is the explosion went off, and they realized that the explosion of the building was not going to work well enough. Because they blew up the cars in the garage in 1993. That shit didn't do nothing to the buildings. That shit ate it. Them shits were so well fucking designed that the fucking garage blowing up in 93, they thought that shit was gonna take them down. They thought that shit was gonna take them down. And them buildings just laughed at it. Them buildings laughed at that explosion like, ah, man, that shit was weak. Who the fuck came up with that idea? So they were just like, we need to do something else to get rid of these towers. That's a way to get rid of a lot of information, a lot of wealth, a lot of people that just happen to work there. You know how many firms were in there, information was in there. And remember, a lot of this wasn't digital. So a lot of stuff disappeared. A lot of information disappeared. A lot of numbers disappeared. Emma, I don't think there's anything to compare around here in Kansas, not even in KC. Like, people don't understand how tall those motherfucking buildings were. Like, there's no other buildings. Most cities don't have, like, very few cities have buildings over 100 feet, 100 floors, let alone having two of them simultaneously like this standing next to each other. Yeah, of course they conveniently profited, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I think this is happening the way it's happening. Cause look at what happened with Germany in the Nuremberg trials. You got rid of Germany, you got rid of Hitler, you got rid of these people, but then all of a sudden you just happen to rebuild how you wanted to rebuild. Nobody questioned it. Nobody questioned how Germany got rebuilt after that. Cuba, the thing is nah, Emma, just go and see. It was just like, it's not that. Who is King Triv? He's in New York City right now, just walking around. New York City's not gonna. You don't bother nobody, people. You ain't gonna get bothered. I was just like, all that stuff is. The thing is like, look, this is what's going on in society right now. This is something that they want to make sure doesn't get out. Look at what happened to Gaza. Look at what Israel has done to Gaza. Look at what Israel continues to do to Gaza. The whole world allowed it. The entire fucking world allowed it. The entire fucking world allowed it. This is the worst it's been. Yeah, it's been happening since 1947, but this is the worst it's been. I'm not paying attention to no plans, legend. I'm not paying attention to any of this shit. I'm paying attention to the motherfuckers that I'm gonna have to fucking shoot. That's what I'm paying attention to. That's what I'm paying attention to. Not paying attention to any of these other fucking plans or Project Esther, Project 23rd. I don't give a fuck about these fucking plans. I'm just trying to pinpoint who the fuck gonna get shot. That's it. Make it easier to identify people. Because if the whole world allowed Gaza to be destroyed, pillaged, raped, murdered, and they didn't do anything about it, what's stopping any other place in the fucking world of being that done to? What's stopping any other place in the world from that happening? The whole world just watched a people that welcomed another group of people just get massacred. Clearly labeled a genocide. And what did these countries do about it? What you think Cuba wouldn't be next? If they're doing what they're doing to Cuba, nobody's standing up for what they did in Gaza. Who's gonna stand up for Cubans? If the shit happens in fucking South America, where it happens that they want to expand to, do you think it's gonna be any different? No, it's not. It's not gonna fucking change. Oh, just like you have these fucking evil ass people in control all over the fucking world. Like I said, the world can run perfectly fine if you get rid of these greedy, corrupt people. The same the same motherfuckers that said there was too many people on this planet are the same ones that want you to have kids. Make that make sense. Ain't nobody look at that part, huh? The same motherfuckers that said there's too many people, there's too many mouths to feed in the world, but you need to have more kids. Bitch, didn't you just say we couldn't feed the people and now all of a sudden you want me to have more kids? I want to try for a boy. I want to have a boy. Even if I end up with another three girls, which my luck knowing that's how it's probably going to be, but I want to try for a boy. I would like to have a boy. But I'm not having another kid in this environment. Fuck a Trump account. I don't give a fuck about no $1,000 that I'm never gonna see. The fuck? I know I know I'm gonna be a girl, but that's the thing in this climate and this stuff like that. I ain't having no kids. I ain't trying to raise another kid knowing all the shit that's going on. I'm just like, nah, that's not gonna happen. It's just not. I'm sorry. Turning Point got what? I don't know what Turning Point is. I heard of toilet paper. Fucking Soggy, wherever you at. Shout out to Soggy. Toilet Paper USA. I heard of toilet paper. I haven't. That's that. Shout out to Soggy. Toilet Paper USA. I don't know. I don't know what Turning Point is. I don't know what the fuck they turning. I was like, I know they lip sync a lot. I know that. That I do. I know they pre-record their shit. I know that too. I know they pay them $250 to pre-record their shit and act like they like the music. I know that. But that was Toilet Paper USA. So I just want to catch my fish though, Cruz. It's hard out here, Emma. Shit is hard out here. Like a lot of this shit has been done on purpose. They've been creating this stuff and all that stuff. And I'm just like, I was just like, the funny thing is in my neighborhood, people just trying to be nice to me now. And I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I don't like it. I don't like it. I had my neighbor, a couple of neighbors, is just like all of a sudden started saying, trying to say hi in the mornings and shit. Like, bitch, I've been here for 4 fucking years. You ain't know nobody. Now all of a sudden you want to wave? Mm, mm. You probably realizing I'm a fucking veteran and I ain't gonna play that shit. Now all of a sudden they wanna smile. Talk about. I was just like, bitch, no. I waved back. I gave him the hey. Now I walked in my house. Fuck that. Oh, I'm waiting for it because I know they probably those are the same ones. Those are the same ones that probably got excited when they heard, oh, ICE is here. They're probably gonna get my neighbor, and I'm gonna shoot them and you. Fuck out of here. What the fuck? Shit. Let you try to come into a fucking United States Army fucking veteran house. You gonna get shot. Y'all may not see me again, but best believe that maybe I may be the reason why the whole country loses its shit. Cause you ain't coming in my house. All of y'all ain't leaving my house. Now ain't gonna be no free cruise. It's gonna be it's gonna be a GoFundMe for my kids. That's what it's gonna be. It ain't gonna be me making videos no more. Shit. Because best believe it ain't gonna be one of them that goes. It's gonna be a couple. You know how they have them videos of the my phone, you calling me, but I got the nastiest fucking ATF angle right now. That's gonna be me. I was like, that's the they all run the same shit, yeah, and I know that. But the thing is you have to incorporate that, and that's why I want all of those people researched. Because the thing is right now, like I said, you get in the top level people. Because Epstein wasn't dealing with small people. If there's that high of a hierarchy, there's a lower hierarchy. There's the people that are trying to get to that level. And then those people below that want to get to the second level to then try to get to the third level. Not everybody makes it to the top level. So they're going to do what they can at their level to try to show and try to improve their fucking thing. It's like a fucking mob. Have you seen fly? No, I haven't seen any cameras, Emma. And at the same time, I don't care. I'll keep speeding. I haven't seen any. I haven't noted of any. I'm gonna keep speeding regardless and fly bottom shit. I don't give a fuck. It's a ticket. I'll pay you. Yeah. I don't, I haven't seen any. I haven't noted it because my trips is either to Topeka or to Salina, and that's for like the VA shit. All of these, there's the thing is the difference is now is just that now the scramble is the thing is everybody has a digital footprint. No matter who or whatever hacker they think they are, if you have any sort of registration of any sort, you have a digital footprint. Back in the day, you didn't. Back in the day, you had to find shit all the things. So if you had, look, back in the day, if there was a fucking, if you had a Blockbuster card, you would have to go to the Blockbuster card or the Blockbuster to find out if the person went and rented some from that Blockbuster. Now you got a Netflix account, your information is there because your house is there. Remember, you can't be sharing it to different households. I got your information. You gotta literally be living out in the fucking boonies nowadays to not have a digital footprint. And if you got a cell phone out in the boonies, you still got a digital footprint. Even if it's a burner phone. Because that burner phone still has to connect to a tower to make a phone call. You see what I'm saying? It's not like back in the day. Back in the day, it was different. No, one of those people is just like, oh, y'all know who Kai Cenat is, right? That's one of those that just got changed up. It was just like I noticed that's another thing when it comes to those people in this industry doing that to fucking artists and stuff like that. You notice that a lot of these artists always end up in jail for like 3 years. It's always 3 years, and then they become a different person that you don't realize who they are. Something I noticed too. Lil Wayne went to jail 3 years, came out different. Once he started talking shit about what happened in fucking in New Orleans with the fucking flooding, he ended up in jail for 3 years. Fucking you had Kevin Gates 3 years. You had who else did 3 years? A bunch of people end up doing 3 years and then they end up being a whole different person or they come back differently. I was like, there's people that whistleblow a lot of this shit. You know who I used to think was crazy? Well, I never thought he was crazy. I just thought he said some crazy shit. Orlando Brown. And he's been exposing the fucking industry for a while now. But people just think he's went off his fucking rockers for all the shit he's been through and all the drugs he probably did and all this stuff. But then you listen to what he said now, it make a whole lot of sense. Diddy was doing that for some time, but Diddy didn't do that alone. It was like Kanye made one of the best lyrics that a lot of people didn't even realize to pay attention to. He was rapping and he said, "You can't lynch Marshawn if Tom Brady throwing to him." Now think about that. You can't get Marshawn or you can't get the person, you can't get Kanye in trouble if the person that's feeding him the stuff is the white person that you ain't paying attention to. Can't get Diddy in trouble for all the shit he did if the people above him are the one that's supplying him with the shit he's doing. Hence the fact he got 3 years when he's been doing a lot worse. See what I'm saying? Like, that's how you got to look at it with that. But people don't pay attention to it like that. It's just like, oh shit. I didn't think about that. When I heard that lyric and I was just like that. And it's not on one of his songs. He's featured on another song and he says that. You can't lynch Marshawn when Tom Brady throwing to him. It's a system, but that's what I'm saying. That's what needs to be investigated because there's corruption in a ton of systems. The problem is that we are just paying attention to Epstein like Epstein was the main ringleader for the whole world and not realizing that the whole world had their own little ringleaders that led to Epstein. See what I'm saying? But that's it, y'all. I'm just I appreciate y'all for listening today. I appreciate y'all listening today. It has helped my mind a bit just to try to clarify these things and get these things off. It's just that we need to ask more questions and we need to ask deeper questions. We need to find root causes of these things instead of just staying at the surface level of what they're giving us with the Epstein files. So, as always, I'll probably be on later on. I'm gonna just game so I can get my mind off of this shit. I'll be on my Twitch account gaming. So if I say crew, yeah, Ty, I'm not saying I'm not doing late today. I'm not doing you late. Like I said, I'm gonna start getting the schedule. I just felt a little better and I had to get fucking my thought process going. I had to get a lot of shit off my mind, but I'm still recuperating. So hopefully y'all can tell my voice is raspy, so I'm trying to get that better. But as always, be good to one another, take care of one another, look out for one another, love one another, stay marvelous while doing it, y'all. I'm just Cruz. I appreciate y'all as always. Y'all have a good rest of your evening. Like I said, I'll be on my Twitch account, probably playing some Apex later or some shit. Or maybe I don't stream. I don't know. We'll see. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.